Así que se va con esta preciosura.
Gracias VIP por ayudarme a realizar y conseguir mi maquinón.
Ahí la tiene. Gracias Grace por darnos la oportunidad a nosotros de...
Yo, face. Show your face, please. With sugar on top.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. Now, before we get into this video, please make sure you head on down to Instagram and follow us on our official Instagram page at Hookah Anonymous _. We're able to be a little more explicit, a little more uncensored, and share content freely without running the risk of having our channel terminated. So, once again, make sure you head on down to Instagram and follow us on our official Instagram page at Hookah Anonymous _. We're almost at 100,000 subscribers. So if you like this video, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. Now let's get into what you guys came here to see. Now, today we got a bizarre story concerning an NYPD police officer who sold drugs with the assistance of a boyfriend to a federal informant. Officer Baez is not your typical NYPD officer, but Officer Baez was a veteran on the force with police experience dating back to when she started in 2012. Now, aside from this case, it's always been a thing where officers are caught with contraband for inmates because almost any and everything you sell in prison can be doubled, sometimes tripled the normal price. And depending on the inmates, who can sometimes be big time kingpins who are arrested or just high level criminals, money really isn't a thing to them in order to sustain convenience while serving their time. Now, whether it's cell phones, tobacco, weed, pills, alcohol, weapons, or in this case, kilos. Now on the flip side, the average NYPD officer's starting salary starts at $58,000, but isn't limited to that number due to the amount of overtime that's available. Anything after 5 years can go from $120,000, but also isn't limited to based on the amount of overtime that's available. So due to the dangerous job that officers have to provide in protecting our community, a lot of people feel that the base salary just isn't enough, and maybe that's why we end up with so much corruption within law enforcement. But in Officer Baez's case, she made just $96,715 in 2022 because she worked less overtime while on desk duty. One may believe that maybe she didn't care about doing overtime because she had an illegal side hustle going on where she didn't need the overtime. To make 90K just doing regular work without exhausting yourself is enough. Now let's get into the illegal side hustle that landed Officer Baez behind bars. Grace Rose Baez, who went by the handle at Gracella _Rose on Instagram, was a 37-year-old officer from Yonkers, New York. Her, along with her man, 42-year-old Cesar Martinez of Yonkers, New York as well, will be charged with conspiracy to distribute narcotics and the distribution of narcotics. The drug ring was busted when both individuals would send narcotics to a federal informant between the dates of October 9, 2022 to October 29, 2022. Officer Baez will oftenly boast on social media how much she loves her job, and we're trying to figure out if it's because she loved helping others or loved the fact that she could easily hide her corrupted ways behind the badge of the people in blue. At first glance at her private Instagram account, you can see she has the hashtag Blue Lives Matter. But while she was doing what she was doing, did it really matter at that time? Now, reports say that on a Tuesday, Officer Baez would agree to link up with the federal informant to give the informant a sample of what she would call, quote, top quality fentanyl, in which she hid in a Mentos candy container. After giving the informant the sample, she also told the informant that she can get them a kilo of heroin for $25,000 and 800 grams of fentanyl, with their prices to be negotiated at a later time depending on the quality. Sources say that it wasn't Officer Baez's first encounter with them neither, as she had multiple meetups with the informant as well. Officer Baez went as far as facilitating drug deals and meetings while on desk duty at an NYPD facility. That's where she will also negotiate the prices to sell kilos of narcotics to others as well. Now, law enforcement recalls a meeting that Officer Baez had with the informant in Yonkers, where she handed over packages that contained a kilo of heroin, followed by 400 grams and 640 grams of fentanyl, labeled, quote, 640 Manzana. That was the same exact day she was confronted and arrested. Now, after being arrested, law enforcement would go back to her home, which she shared with her man Cesar Martinez. They suspected that she'll have more drugs and or evidence there, in which they were correct. When they arrived at the home, to their surprise, they found a package of suspected narcotics being thrown out of the apartment window that belonged to the two. When they reached inside the apartment, they also found a kilogram drug presser and more narcotics that Cesar was preparing to throw outside the window as well. He too was arrested and taken into custody. Officer Baez will be suspended without pay after her arrest, and she, along with Martinez, face a bunch of years in jail. Now you have to look at this from a couple angles, because I'm sure that they're going to be hard on her and him, but especially her for two reasons. One, she was a veteran NYPD officer that betrayed her badge to sell substances, making the NYPD force look bad. And two, with the big opioid crisis going on right now, to hear that not only was she selling the same stuff that are damaging thousands of people daily, but she was also a police officer as well, it makes law enforcement look like hypocrites. When they're trying to stop a crisis, or so they say, that's actually being pushed by one of their own officers, it becomes a sense of embarrassment, as well as a sense of failure. So it's a lot of things that played a part in what she was doing, and I don't think she may have understood at the time. Officer Baez was caught. However, there is more corruption within officers going on, some on a bigger scale and some on a smaller one. However, they are fighting to put an end to it and look for solutions within law enforcement. Now, I personally feel that there isn't much to stop it, honestly, because as long as you have people involved in anything, you'll continuously have greed involved as well. Some people do the right thing, but then others just have to have more. And that's where the greed part comes in. If you don't learn anything from today, at least learn that at the end of the day, it's not worth it. It's too much legal money out here these days to jeopardize your freedom and spend a bunch of years in jail for nothing. It's not like they say they caught her in a mansion or they caught her with Lamborghinis, they caught millions of dollars or none of that. They said that she was actually sharing an apartment with her significant other. So sometimes the risks don't outweigh the reward, and when it don't, it just don't make sense. They said she was making almost 100K or could have made 100K, but she was on desk duty, which 9 times out of 10 she had a side hustle going on illegally. So I'm pretty sure that's probably why she didn't push for the overtime. But however, if she really wanted to, she could have made anywhere from 120,000 and up. You know, so like I said, don't jeopardize all your hard work in your career for something so small. And it's funny because I'm sure she wasn't in this alone. I'm sure that maybe it was the man, the Cesar guy. Maybe it was him that was putting the battery on her back to do it. Who knows? Because if you did see her Instagram, it did seem like she took passion into what she was doing. She, you know, it looked like she took pride in being an officer. But sometimes when people come in your ear and people sitting there and feeding you bullcrap, oh, you could buy this, you could buy that, you could do this, you could have this and that. They provide a fantasy to you. And sometimes, no matter how legit you are, you take the bait. You know, it happens to the best of us, man. All I do know is if that is the case, then the Cesar guy better watch out, because I'm sure she telling everything she knows, man. Especially if they offering 20-some years, 30-some years, who knows? Alright, so y'all jump in the comments, let me know how y'all feel about this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm going to keep on dropping. And I'm out.